me tell you about a story that broke my heart, but also opened my eyes to a hidden crisis in our society. There was this elderly man who would call the police almost every single day. Not because he was in danger, not because he witnessed a crime, but simply because he was desperately lonely. At first, the police were frustrated. They'd receive his calls at all hours, sometimes just to tell them about his day or ask what the weather was like outside their station. Each time, they'd have to explain that the emergency line was for actual emergencies. But something about this man's persistence made them dig deeper. They discovered he was living alone in a small apartment. His wife had passed away 5 years ago, and his children had moved to different cities, too busy with their own lives to visit regularly. The walls of his home were covered with old photographs, frozen memories of happier, more connected times. The thing is, he knew the police would always answer. In a world where everyone's too busy scrolling through their phones to look up, where neighbors don't know each other's names anymore, that emergency line became his lifeline to human connection. What really gets to me is thinking about how many other elderly people are out there, sitting in quiet rooms, watching the world go by through their windows, desperately wanting someone, anyone, to talk to. This man's story isn't just about one lonely person. It's a wake-up call about the epidemic of loneliness among our elderly. Eventually, the local police department did something remarkable. Instead of treating his calls as a nuisance, they started a community outreach program. They connected him with local senior centers, arranged for regular visits, and even got some younger volunteers to spend time with elderly residents in the area. This story reminds us that sometimes, behind what might seem like a nuisance or an inconvenience, there's a deeper human story waiting to be understood. Maybe we all need to look up from our phones more often, knock on our elderly neighbor's door, or simply make time to listen to someone who just needs to be heard. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to be old someday. And wouldn't it be nice to know that when that time comes, we won't have to call the police just to hear another human voice?